the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we do have a forum with 7 present board members and Adam and Deb via Zoom. So we have a unanimous board tonight. I will call the meeting to order as of 7:01 on November 15th, 2021. Before I entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, are there any amendments?
I do have one regarding a security change regarding beach parking lot hours.
Is that under new business?
It'll be under new business, yes, sir.
Beach parking
We approved at the rules meeting, so we have to formalize it.
lot hours. Okay, anything
Yes,
else?
sir, I've got one, under old business.
Okay,
And it's in regards to a question that was asked about in the open forum last month regarding those smart siren things,
okay.
towers.
Tornado siren.
That's it.
And well, yeah, we don't have old bills, but I'm finished.
No, it's unfinished.
And
I stand
I need to add under new business to formalize a motion to retrieve migrated gravel from 2 coves.
Anything else? Going once, twice, 3 times. So for the people out there that have the agenda in front of us under unfinished business, there was an item added to storm siren towers. Under new business, there's 2 items added, beach parking lot hours, and they formalize a motion for the remediated gravel in 2 coves. I will now entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second. Sorry, Penny did.
Barb made the motion, Denny seconded the motion. Any discussion? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
You're on mute, Deb, but that's okay, I read your lips. Motion passes unanimously. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the special meeting minutes of October 18th.
It's not a special.
Or of the meeting minutes, I'm sorry.
I'll make a
Oh, wait a
motion.
minute, it does say
It
special.
says special, but that's because we're so special.
Adjustment made.
We're all special.
We're special people. Approval of the meeting minutes, I'm sorry. How did we have a special meeting that I wasn't aware
But he was
of?
asking me, and I'm like, holy shit, what?
Approval of the meeting minutes of October 18th, 2021. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Barb has made the motion.
I'll second it.
Dave Getty has seconded the motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the meeting minutes of October 18th, 2021, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, the treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
Okay, this is balance sheet prepared on an accrual basis as of October the 31st. Shows total assets of $1,469,379.36. That includes road, buildings, equipment, cash, bank accounts, all other assets. On the monthly check report, you've got that in your packet. Yeah, there's nothing really remarkable on this with the exception of check number 2428 to Midwest Bank for $29,335.63, which represents the payoff of the loan that we have there on the truck. And that's my report.
I will entertain a motion for the approval of the treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
I'll make the motion.
Dave Getty made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Denny Schwantner seconded the motion. Any discussion? All favor signify with an aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence report, which I will read for Deb. On 10/6, we got correspondence from Jefferson County Court about a property owner petition for quiet title on property purchased. On 11/5, there is an appeal of an ACC ruling by a property owner. No correspondence sent, and general correspondence would be a violation censure payment received and
That's
one
13.
mailed. One on the 13th and one
No,
on the...
October 2021 is 13
Oh, that's what that means?
violations. Yes.
Oh, I thought that was October 13th.
No, that's how many. have
Okay,
been-
so we received 13 payments and we sent 6 new ones. Is that what I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions with the correspondence report? I'm not as good as you, Deb.
Property owner appeal.
Easy.
All right, standing committee reports, administration and legal. As far as administration goes, there is an appeal by a property owner of an ACC ruling that will be heard at the December 20th board meeting. Legal, I got absolutely nothing. So that's, I think, a good thing. I guess good news would be a better thing, but it's at least no new bad news. Let's see, administration report, was there anything crazy on here? Basic same stuff, prorated assessments, boundary line adjustments, ACC projects and rules violations, new residents, license plates. So Bart, if you want to speak about that later on in finance, that would be a big thing. I think that's a major undertaking on your part. Thank you for that. That's all I have. So architectural control, Dave.
Yes. We're continuing to have the ACC meetings via the emails. Plot plans, floor plans, and other information are all scanned and sent through the email to the entire committee with the builder property owner included in the email. Without the process, the plans for all building projects could not be approved, and construction in Raintree would come to a halt. So it's definitely making things quicker. As you all may be aware, all building projects require a permit, a deposit, and a signed inspector. And that's anything that's going on in the subdivision that's a project that requires a building permit, retaining walls, updating decks and things like that, even patios and driveways. We had an appeal to the ACC for a pavilion/outbuilding at the ACC. It was declined. The agreed property owner is appealing to the board for section 2.0 of the Raintree POA covenants. We will hear this appeal December 20th. We will hear this appeal at the December 20th board meeting under new business. It is advised that all 9 directors be in attendance, as the board will vote via secret ballot. Do you want me to go through any of the procedure? I don't have to go through all of it, but I can maybe touch on a couple of the things. Well, this will be done by the board. It's no longer an ACC appeal. It is now going to be an appeal to the board. I'll just go through. It is section 2.0 of the covenants that anyone agreed by the Architectural Control Committee decision may prepare a written statement that sets out the agreed party's position and facts that support that position. This statement must be delivered to the Secretary of the Raintree Plantation Property Owners Association within 14 days of the original disapproval date. The Architectural Control Committee shall review the statement at its next meeting, which we did. It was denied. So if after review of their written statement, the Architectural Control Committee disapproves the plans for the agreed parties, then they may appeal the disapproval of the Architectural Control Committee to the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors of Raintree Plantation shall have the authority to reverse, amend, or approve the decision made by the Architecture Control Committee. Any appeal shall be in writing, setting forth the position of the aggrieved parties and any facts that support that position. The appeal must be delivered to the Secretary of Raintree Plantation Property Owners, Inc. within 30 days of the second disapproval date. The Board of Directors of Raintree Plantation Property Owners shall promptly dispose of the appeal at a regular meeting. At that meeting, the aggrieved parties may appear and give a brief oral statement. The decision of the Board of Directors, Raintree POA, shall be final. And just a couple of points, that all board members should have copies of the pertinent material, which a request from the aggrieved property owner, which I believe you've all received in the email, any additional written statements, documents, or photos from the aggrieved property owner, ACC minutes from the first meeting, which I don't know the dates on it, but we have them both, ACC minutes from the ACC appeal meeting, list of voting members of the ACC, the pertinent emails, and 9 ballots, which would be a motion to overturn ACC denial should be clearly written on 9 paper ballots with reverse or approved to be circled or checked. So we are working on those ballots. So each property owner, each board member shall have a copy of that prior to that December meeting, probably in the next week or two. So without getting into more detail than that, we can elaborate if there's any questions in the open forum or something like that, if somebody has any questions. Unless anybody has any questions right now. But other than that, that's my ACC report for now.
All right, thanks, Dave. Communications and events, so I will read that for Deb. Under communications, the October newsletter was a paper newsletter sent out to all property owners as agreed in the July schedule for paper version. May, July, October, and January. There are currently 522 email subscribers, and there was a posted a comprehensive set of expectations for Halloween that Facebook says reached almost 1,100 readers. So that's a good sign. Under events, Halloween trunk or treat, peaceful and organized candy distribution center. Almost 300 trick-or-treaters reported by Vista homeowners. Thank you to volunteers who put up signs, Steve and Tammy Ponzer, and organized the golf cart trunk-or-treat, John and Laura Mosley. So thank you to those 4 folks for doing those tasks. The HOA is sponsoring a holiday light show again this year, open to all Raintree homeowners. Voting will begin December 1st and close December 25th. If you have any questions, contact a member of the HOA board or send your questions to raintreehoa2015@hotmail.com. And that's it for me. Yes.
I'd like to add that when putting up the signs, it wasn't just Steve Ponzer that I bossed around for 2.5 hours. It was also Kent Jarvis and Keith Bowenkamper that spent the morning 2.5 hours with steel spikes and little steel sledgehammers, and we put up 58 one-way signs around Vista.
And then pick them up.
And then we picked them up, but that was Tom's crew helped with picking them up because I was a little indisposed by the time trick or treat was over. But those 3 gentlemen put up with me for 2.5 hours of nitpicking exactly where sign should best be.
God bless them.
I bet they said yes, dear.
There was a lot of, yes, ma'am, no, yes, certainly, ma'am. So we
Yes.
couldn't do it without all the neighbors of Raintree.
Yeah, actually, thank those folks as well. When I got up that morning, it looked like a pretty crappy Halloween getting ready to unfold, and then it turned out to be pretty decent. So thanks for everybody that helped with all the volunteers' work. All right, finance, Barb.
Okay, a couple of things I'd like to mention on the license plate updates. In the process of updating all of our property owner files, license plates into our QuickBooks system so that can assist security in locating gate crashers and various other things when all we have is a license plate and we haven't been able to really run that before.
And the
So
key with that is it's searchable.
it's searchable. So if any, when you're coming up here and buying the new stickers or whatever, the office will be keeping your file updated if you have a new car and you have a new license plate or whatever, please help them keep your file up to date. Another thing is, this isn't reflected on this balance sheet, but it will be in November. We transferred $250,000 out of our primary checking into the excess checking account, sweep account. Purpose of that is to maintain FBI insurance coverage, because anything over $250,000 is not guaranteed. So they put it in a sweep account, and it is farmed out to different banks so that it's all covered. And we will move that back in as the year goes on, and we need those funds. That's all I have on finance.
All right, thanks, Barb. Tammy, golf cart committee.
See, in the past month, we've had no new golf cart registrations, and we did receive an email from one property owner making an inquiry about electric assist bicycles. And Missouri nor Raintree require registration for electric assist bicycles. These bicycles are simply manual bicycles that have a less than 1 horsepower, less than 750 watt motor attached to them, which kicks in when you reach a certain torque level that is preset on your bicycle. And that simply is to help people up the hills that are here in Raintree. So Missouri nor Raintree is interested in deterring anyone from exercising.
That would be probably pulling out of my driveway in my case.
We tried bicycling twice and gave the bicycles away. So the electric assists are certainly the only way to go. But other than that, golf carts really doesn't have anything else going on right now. Other than thank you to the Mosleys for the trick or treat down at the trunk or treat.
Alrighty, lakes and beaches.
Lakes and beaches, we had no new boat registrations last month. We did receive several property owner emails inquiring about the motorized surfboards. And according to Missouri law 306.010, a personal watercraft is classified as a vessel that is less than 16 feet in length. It is propelled by machinery which is designed to be operated by a person sitting, standing, or kneeling on the vessel, rather than being operated by a person sitting or standing inside a vessel. A boat, you are inside of. A personal watercraft, you are on. So with that distinction by Missouri law 30.010, the motorized surfboards in Missouri are classified as personal watercraft. And per Raintree Covenant 1.H, as of January 1st, 2003, no additional previously unregistered personal watercraft will be allowed to be registered or operated in Raintree. So that removes the opportunity for motorized surfboards in Raintree. I also received several phone calls from a new property owner with questions about and as of January 2022, non-motorized boat stickers will cost $10. They will no longer be free. That was changed at a rules meeting back in, I believe, September. But that will go into effect January 1st. So we do advise property owners to put those stickers on a smooth area of your kayak or your john boat, not any of the texturized or pebbleized surface. Do it behind the seat or in the dry box lid, because the stickers aren't necessarily to identify that you're allowed, unquote, to be on Raintree lakes as much as it's an identifier during times of floating or high wind. If your kayak or your john boat gets onto the water and someone finds it, they can call the office and say, I have boat number this, that, or the other, and we can say, oh, that belongs to so-and-so. We'll contact them and let them know that you have it. I went ahead and I stenciled our name with our number on ours with waterproof paint, but I do have the stickers on the inside lid of the dry box lid. So that's all the information from Lakes and Beaches. Any questions?
All right, thanks, Tammy.
All right.
Maintenance.
Let me read that. Okay, maintenance. They're in the process of getting their trucks and equipment ready for winter. The new snowplow that we ordered has been installed on the dump truck, and I think they maybe have taken delivery of it at this point. The bathhouse, the visitor center, and the Column Drive irrigation system has all been winterized. They dug out and reshaped a ditch on Waterford for a work order. They replaced a window on the visitor center that was broken, filled some potholes, painted the speed bumps, trimmed and chipped limbs overhanging some roads, cleaned out ditch lines, culverts, and removed some trees, leaves, and debris. If anyone has any area that needs attention, please fill out a work order. The maintenance crew asks that residents please use off-street parking whenever possible when snow is imminent, which starting this time of the year, it could be any time. So if you can, please don't park on the streets. Their streets are barely wide enough for two cars to get past each other as it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And let's segue into roads, or is that Denny now?
I'll take care of that, I think. Okay, road repair and replacement will be completed by November 30th, barring any weather delays for west paving. There are 32 locations to be repaired and are replaced. 2 additional locations to be repaired, which are under warranty, which is on Acorn and Bentry. EPA has completed 16 of the 22 properties to be remediated. EPA was unable to contact the remaining 6 locations. Gate cards are being returned from the EPA crew. When all work is closed out for the season's work, they will send a report on locations remediated. When we get that report, then Barb and I will go out and check all the locations to see if there's any road damage that we need to follow up on. The warning light, which is to be installed at Highway B and Column Drive, is behind schedule. This was part of an overall project coupled with work on Highway 21 and Highway 110 in DeSoto. So they piggybacked our job onto that job so that they can get funding for it. They should be here any day.
Yeah, that one's already started.
What,
Yeah,
110?
110, yeah.
Are they doing, putting a roundabout in there or something?
Oh gosh, I hope
They actually reduce accidents.
they do, yes. Yeah. That's a highway there that's pretty,
Well, it's 110 and 21, so I don't think anyone cares about a roundabout or whatever. I've seen one that just fly right over.
We were hoping it might be lights for the internet.
There's
So,
something going in up there off to the left-hand side of the road.
yeah, there is. All these projects, roads, remediation, and warning lights are all dependent on weather conditions, so delays do happen frequently. And that's all I have for roads.
I did see that they were surveying right down the road here. It
Yeah,
looked like they
I
were
saw
surveying
right around the
grades.
corner. I don't know if it had anything to do with this or not.
I thought so.
They've had some flags around here too.
I think they're doing some
They're probably just
preliminary
counting
scoping
traffic.
out.
All right, thanks, Denny.
Sure.
Dave, rules.
Okay, let's see. Well, just a couple of things that we conducted at the last rules meeting in, anyway, we made some changes to the inspector contract. We'll have to vote on under new business. We are adding the square footage to the building new residence permit request form. It won't stop us from having to verify, but at least it's on the form so that we know what square footage we're looking at. It's a lot easier. And then also, we've had incidents where some of the concrete is being sprayed out into our ditches. The county expects, or at least requires, a concrete washout pit for on the property wherever the building is going on. It's basically a hole where when the concrete comes in, they wash it out into that pit. And then when it hardens, they crack it up and take it out, or they can bury it, or whatever the property owner agreed to. Also, and we're just gonna put that into our guidelines so that people are aware of that. Also, the mulch berm requirements to control stormwater, because anything that, what's happening is some of these properties, especially ones on the lake, the silt fences, a little cellophane or whatever it is that they use, doesn't quite hold up. It can be used, but they require, and we're gonna add it to our requirements as well, that the mulch berm to control stormwater is put up either mulch or some sort of barrier that is natural, that's not gonna pollute the water, the beach or the lake or anything. Also, this is probably under security, but it came up at the rules meeting, the beach parking lot hours will be temporarily extended from 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. beginning October 19, 2021, and it'll be reviewed in January. That is a motion that we'll make under new business as well, since it was approved by the Rules Committee. I just want to make a note that there will be a Rules Committee meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. The intention is to abruptly end at 8 p.m. because they can go on all night if we're not careful. There's several things on the agenda, but the three big ones will be guidelines for sheds. We do have those. We got to get those approved tomorrow night. Also, something called teak surfing and wakeboarding, among other issues, will be the top subjects at tomorrow night's meeting. And that's all that I have. I want one other thing, is did everybody get those changes that I sent an email regarding the contracts, the guidelines, and the permit request?
I think so.
When did you send that?
I don't know, a week or so ago.
Okay, is this the updated version?
Yes, it should be right. I didn't highlight yours, but mine is, it should be on the contract, the first line, you'll see that came from an inspector, it was his suggestion, and the committee adopted it. The other thing is, see, the contract is for the inspectors to sign, because basically it's frees the POA from any liability or the property owner if an inspector happens to step on a nail or get hurt inspecting these homes. For the most part, our inspectors do not have to go too far onto the property. You can really look from the street for the most part, but they are permitted to, go around the property to make sure that everything is as it says. Sometimes if you're doing a seawall or a boathouse, you can't see it from the street, so you have to get out and you have to look. But we make sure our inspectors wear badges that identify them as who they are. The other thing was the building application permit, which includes the square footage. We've already added that, so if this gets approved, this will be the new application. And then, of course, on the building permit guidelines, that's where it has that the concrete wash water shall not be allowed to flow directly into storm sewers, streams, ditches, lakes, etc., without being treated. A sump or pit shall be constructed to contain concrete wash water. And the other one is this is under E, section E, 8 and 9. Number 9 is the entire site shall be stabilized using a suitable mulch layer or another method that does not require germination or to control erosion. And that was really all the small changes that we did, but they will have to be voted on today to be approved. So if you have any questions, we can do them whenever you want.
All right.
That's it.
Thanks, Dave. Mr. Wallers.
Yeah, I didn't submit anything in writing because there wasn't really a whole lot. Yesterday, the guest kiosk at the back gate locked up. I had to call our contractor to come in and reset that. On Halloween for security, I was hanging out at the beach and pavilion area. I only had to turn 3 people around to the other direction, and there was a couple of people that wanted to stop and park at the pavilion, and let them know they need to keep moving. And let's see, I think that's about it.
Halloween should be on a Sunday every year. Everybody's gotta work in the morning. I didn't notice anybody going the wrong way once the kids started walking. There was a few, after the signs were up, that decided to go the wrong way, but I think it was early enough.
No, I did have one incident of somebody coming across the dam and then turned around in the parking lot at the beach and then went back the other way. I tried to stop them and they stuck their head out the window and yelled at me and said, "What are you gonna do about it?" So, real nice.
So what'd you do about it?
I watched them drive away and wrote down their license plate number.
The next is higher security with tasers.
All right, that's the committee reports, and I am gonna make an executive decision. Wendy, next month on our committee reports, can you, every other month, start the committee reports in reverse order? Because me personally, having the last name of Woldridge was always the last one to speak at class or at work. And I know Chris is sitting here patiently every week or every month, so we'll start with security every other month and work backwards.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents for,
Well, she goes in alphabetical order.
Maybe
I
we
know,
should-
we're gonna go in reverse order every other month.
We are really gonna get confused.
Maybe we should vote on
If
that.
if that's all it takes.
Got me emotional.
Yeah. Unfinished business and new business. Is there any unfinished business?
Yes. Yeah, what did I do with it?
I have a copy of it if you need it.
Yep, there it is. Got it. Okay, at the last meeting, during the
You were just holding the phone.
open forum, Joe Haddo had asked about these emergency warning towers. And mostly they're up in Hillsborough, from what I've seen. Anyway, the county has a code red system where your phone will receive a call in severe storms or tornado watch or warnings are imminent. You sign up for this system, you go to www.jeffco911.org. You can put your phone number in there and then they'll call you when there's warnings coming out. It does work pretty good. We've had that at my house for, oh my gosh, several years now. Now, the towers were put in about 12 years ago, but they're run by the National Weather Service. So there's nobody locally here that runs the towers. But the Jeffco 911 runs the code red system. And initially they put in 18 towers throughout Jefferson County. That seems like an awful small number for such a large area. But that's what it is. So that's basically all I have for it right now. Sorry, I couldn't give you more, Joe. Okay. That's
Can
it,
we
sir.
put the high and low wage notification in there? We'll trade it
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in my packet. Any other unfinished business? Okay, new business, so changes to the inspector contract to uphold POA covenants, bylaws, etc. I guess that's Mr. Getty.
Yeah, well, basically, all we did was this came from an inspector, on the inspector
Is
contract.
this a motion you need to make?
Yeah, I'm gonna make
Make
a
a
motion.
motion and we'll discuss it.
Please, I would like to make a motion that we update the Raintree Plantation Property Owner Association Construction Inspector Contract to include inspector agrees to review and uphold POA covenants, bylaws, rules, and all building guidelines as set by the Board of Directors.
You might want to send that to Deb in written format. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Deb, we got a motion by Dave to change the inspector contract.
Just one
The
more.
second was by Barb. Any discussion? Or Dave, if you want to give a better description or any description, different
That's the only
description.
change that we made that came from, one of the inspectors. So-
Where is it? Where is it on this contract that you handed out? All I need to do is mark it.
It's at the very top, number one, obligations of inspector. Do you,
Okay, so the very first part is what you're adding.
yeah, do you
Okay,
see
thank
that on yours? Deb, do you see that copy? Do you have that copy?
I do.
Okay,
Just the first sentence is
Yeah.
what he's adding.
yeah, the words are, I'll just read it again, just to make sure you've got it. It's the inspector agrees to review and uphold POA covenants, bylaws, rules, and set by the board of directors.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, did we have a problem that they didn't already understand that?
They wanted to be made clear,
Okay.
and so it came from one of the lead inspectors, so I'm not gonna say no.
All
And
right.
other inspectors agreed, so.
Any other discussion on this? It's basically sentence 1 of the obligations of inspector.
Yes, that first sentence is new.
Okay. No questions? All in favor of the motion to change the inspector contract, basically sentence 1 of the obligations of inspector, signify with an aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? I think that was an aye by Adam, but I'm not 100%
It's
sure.
not an ice in a glass.
Motion passes. All right, Dave, you have another motion?
Yes, there's another one we made, just one change to the building permit application amongst other things that it asks
Make
for.
the motion.
The motion is to add the words, to include square footage excluding porches, garage, and basements on the third line of the building permit application. To
Okay.
add to the building permit application the words square footage excluding porches, garages, and basements. It's a square footage, we need to know.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion was made by Dave, a second by Denny. So when I seen this in my email, I thought you guys were adding square footage to the house. I'm thinking, I mean.
No, but one of the key things that we have when we're reviewing house plans is it has to meet the square footage requirements as laid out in the covenant. And sometimes that's on the first page right there in big bold letters. Sometimes it's like a third or fourth page in, and it's somewhere in the details, and it's one small little piece down at the bottom corner. So to help clarify that and to help ease people reviewing the guidelines and everything, we wanted to include that on the permit itself.
Because the inspectors will still have to verify that that square footage does match with the blueprints, but we usually have to look at each room and then kind of add it that way, excluding the garages and the other things. So at least if we have a number to go for, we know if we're getting close or not, and that we don't have to worry about it.
Plus, it also gives pause to the property owner that is submitting this, for them to actually review that. Why are we asking for it?
So you're not adding anything, you're just clarifying it.
Yeah, and that's the only thing we're actually adding to the application is just the square footage of the house.
Okay.
God, I wish I would have read that closer. Barb and I spent 3 weeks talking about this.
I would have had Tammy clarify it for you.
Good one.
Is there any other questions
I'll second
from these
that.
smart asses over here? All right, all in favor of the building permit, adding the words square footage to the permit, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Hey, Squeaky,
Aye.
motion passes.
You're working on it.
All right, Dave, this looks like you're just
I do have-
dominating the new business.
I do have one more, I'm sorry. In the policy for obtaining a building permit to construct a new residence, we are adding,
Yes,
I'm
please.
making a motion that we are adding 2 new sections or 2 numbers. First one, which would be number 8 in this case, concrete wash shall not be allowed to flow directly to storm sewers, streams, ditches, lakes, etc. without being treated. A sump or pit shall be constructed to contain concrete wash water. Number 9 would be the entire site shall be stabilized using a suitable mulch layer or another method that does not require germination to control erosion. Did I make that motion clear enough?
Let me just make a suggestion. The
Yeah.
motions are supposed to be like kind of to the point, and in the discussion of it, you can do more explaining. So let's narrow like what you put in there probably, I'd like to make a motion to modify the building police guidelines for new residents, section 8, general construction. That might be the motion, and then if it gets a second, then we can discuss it, you can elaborate on it. That's for anybody's motions.
Deb, do you have that,
You got the agenda? Yeah, she's got it.
and then she has the email with the policy for obtaining the building permit, because she can see that if she goes to E on general construction, okay.
I do, I'm good.
Okay.
Then I can make my motion a lot simpler. I'll say, I just want to add I make a motion to add to the policy for obtaining a building permit to construct a new residence, 2 new sections, concrete washout pits and mulch berms that we added.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Dave, we all know Dave made the motion, Barb seconded. Is there any discussion?
Okay, when you were talking about it, you said mulch or some other thing. Or do
The
you need
county
to put that
has
in there
some,
because somebody
yeah, the
would use
county
some
has
other thing?
another method that does not require germination to control
And
methods.
what is
so
that?
I guess they don't want you planting anything.
They'll use like those, like at the gals right now, you see those tubes of straw that are
Straw.
in netting, that counts. So you can use
Should
that.
you say that? Because some people might argue with you about some other method language. They might use some other method.
Well,
That's not
I use this
acceptable.
wording exactly as the county
That's how-
has it
And
written.
the county uses it exactly as the state code is written.
Which is some other method.
Some
Yes.
other-
Mulch layer or other methods.
Because they'll
It's
use,
just to block the runoff.
they'll use straw bales sometimes. It depends on what they have available, and to be honest, what's cheapest for the property.
Okay.
They're not actually prohibiting the use of the silk fences, which is like plastic.
So
that they would use.
are we saying this is what?
We are letting them know our preferred method is the mulch or the whatever method.
Because that's what the
natural.
storm, that's what the state storm and water are expecting us to
Do
be
they,
held
does the county
accountable for.
require people to use that?
Yes.
So
So should
preferred
we-
or required?
The
They
state and
require
the state and the county both require it.
Should
Yeah,
we not
well-
require it?
I believe we should.
Go ahead.
Well, they require that you control runoff.
Yes.
They're just suggesting your methods of doing it.
Well, they've just recently adapted that, and that's why the county is changing theirs. They've already got it online, and the county is now taking it to their board to vote to make it finalized, but the state already has.
requires it.
Yes.
So,
So my suggestion would be that it's our suggested means. If that gets passed, the state, then maybe we come back and revisit and say that it's a required method.
Yeah, because if these words are written, it really doesn't even have to go into our guidelines. It's only there just to clarify it to the property owner from our perspective that these 2 things are gonna be required by the county. Because they will call me if there is additional runoff that they weren't looking at. The same with the concrete washout pits. So if we get problems with somebody who repeatedly, and we've had this, repeatedly washing out the concrete off into the ditches. I've had to go by one, I got calls 3 times about a place and concrete in it 3 separate times. They removed it, but I had to contact them nonetheless. So if you don't watch it,
The state and the county were on us for a couple of homes over on Waterford,
oh yes,
because they didn't, those plastic fences,
yes, that's.
the county no longer considers that to be any
Enough.
type of a, silting barrier. And they reported this to stormwater, so then we were dealing with stormwater analysis people out here, and we were in hot water with them.
When the folks get their permits from the county, doesn't the county tell them what they have to do?
Well, here's the thing, most of the builders are supposed to already know, but the county guidelines are a lot thicker than ours. So there's some other things in there that we didn't bother to put
And
in
that's
there.
that's what the stormwater folks were saying, is that these builders know better. They
Yes.
were just hoping to not get noticed
Slip by.
in here, and that's
why I'm
why
wondering if we need to be more firm about it.
Well, we can as time goes on, and we have been for the most part, but we have to watch it, you know? So we put it in here, so when they sign it, they've already agreed that they gotta go to those lengths.
And it does not pertain just to lakefront
Right.
building. Water runs down beginning at the top property of the hill. Every one of them.
No.
It does, I'm here to
Are
tell you
you-
how gravity
are you
works,
kidding
DW.
me?
Yes,
Some
Yes.
seem not to be
water
aware.
runs downhill, so it starts with the
Well, we
building.
know what runs downhill for
It
sure.
starts with the building at the very top, and when people are building up there, they're causing that runoff, and it's coming down, it's getting into creeks, to ditches, it's coming through the culverts, and it's becoming a problem for me.
And
Because it goes into the lake, and then we've got storm water on us like white on rice, and so this is one of the ways that they've told us we can stay in good graces, is to be more mindful of watching this, because they said all the contractors know about it, and they should all be abiding by it, and we stood there like,
yeah,
we just stood there,
So they know
Not
that
know.
at the outset when they build a house in there.
yes,
And they still put up the little plastic fences.
but they're start reduce
Well,
that.
they're not, haven't been illegal or whatever you want to
They
call it.
are with the
they
county.
have it with the county and with the state.
Well, that's when they came out, and that's when well, we didn't get scolded, the property owner did, but we kind of sat back and pretended like they wasn't yelling at us, but we went ahead and added it to our,
Yeah,
Who
but as
who
the-
gets in trouble, the
I just
property
said
owner or the?
I know, yeah, I was the one standing there going, oh,
In
but
the end,
it's all going
the
into the
property
lake,
owner.
Yeah,
yes.
and, well, yeah, ultimately.
Yeah.
And as the stormwater division, what they told us, anything, the lake is ours, the common ground is ours, that's all our property. However, anything that goes in the lake is no longer just our issue. It now belongs to the county and the state for that matter. Because anything that goes in the lake ultimately goes to the Mississippi River and every waterway between here and there. So they are concerned about what goes in the water, which makes sense.
okay.
So did we make that motion?
Yes, and there's a second. Any other discussion?
No.
No.
Deep discussion.
All in favor of I'm guessing you're saying section 8 and 9 added to the building police guidelines in section E?
Police or
Yes.
policy?
Policies, not police.
Well, it says police.
I know.
I wrote this anyway.
FYI, for anybody
Well, it does.
listening, I am reading verbatim.
I'm the reading teacher right
Oh, it's
Yes.
supposed to be policy. It's French.
Sorry, I didn't get the slang there. All in favor signify with an aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. I would just like to mention to somebody here, I don't know, I know if we ever, or when we get the coves all dredged and cleaned out, did anybody see Fred Ramos post somewhere either on Facebook or next door about this like trap containment system that catches the silt?
Oh, yes, I did see that.
That might be something that we could look into to help reduce the silt going through. I mean, you'd have to put it at every major run-in, but that's something to
Is
consider.
that something that's gonna get clogged up every time we have a rain?
No, it didn't look like it, cause it's got a way of letting it filter through, and, I mean, you would probably have to clean it up frequently, but I would say having maintenance clean that out every once in a while versus dredging the lake.
Because if it is clogged up, it's gonna back up on people's property and on the golf course.
We've
Yeah.
been given some suggestions by, the sewer water company and by Storm and Water and by DNR and by the Army Corps of Engineers to consider.
I just seen that
To
post
better.
and thought it might be, I mean, he's seen it on a large lake, so wherever he was vacationing at, I just thought I'd bring that up.
Okay.
It might be something you
Well,
can,
and thank you. Thank you for property owner suggestions. We certainly welcome them.
absolutely. Okay, Mr. Getty, are you the beach parking lot hours?
Oh,
I can make that.
Okay, Chris?
it's like a security.
It's under rules, actually, but anyway, I'd like to make a motion to formalize a change to the beach parking lot hours to extend them to 8:30 through January 18th while we investigate extending or changing the hours. So the motion is to formalize the extension of beach parking lot hours to 8:30 through January 18th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Chris, seconded by Barb. Any discussion?
I would just add that this is, at this point, temporary through January 18th as he pointed out.
So that, this expires on January 18th unless something else is put in place permanently.
I believe January 18th is a rules meeting day, which would be the Tuesday after the board meeting, which we will revisit this at that rules meeting. It will be on the agenda come January, or prior to the January meeting.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion made to extend the beach parking lot hours till 8:30 PM until January 18th, 2022, signify with an aye.
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 Motion passes. Tammy,
Now, my motion's gonna be very specific.
How long is it?
By my standards, not two.
Ever read Tolstoy?
Do I have time for a nap?
Two volumes.
can Terry please leave the room for a moment?
Okay. Feel free to pay attention.
I got it in 3 words. I don't know why you couldn't.
Really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's name that motion. So you don't want all the details, you just want me to make a little blurb.
Quick and simple, we'll
I'm
second
gonna,
it.
to
You can-
formalize a motion to retrieve rock from 2 coves.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Look at everybody jumping on board.
Yeah.
Where was
Motion-
everybody while I was in waiting?
Motion was made by Tammy and seconded by Dave Getty.
So what was my motion?
To rock from.
Oh, to
cove
retrieve rock from 2
And,
coves.
and please, Dave, the motion, I didn't get everything she said there.
To retrieve rock from 2 coves, I guess, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Okay,
Big rock from 2 coves.
actually mine was 2 words, I just said formalize in front of it.
It's technically Raintree Common Drive.
And it was far,
Any discussion, or do you want to elaborate on your shortened version?
that we were hiring checkered flag excavation to retrieve rock and gravel that had come through the ditch and culvert drainage system and had migrated and created an obstacle on POA property in the land that is commonly known as Cove 3 and Cove 4, and that the,
That was 4 and 5.
no, 3 and 4. And that it was basically maintenance that had been avoided, I think, as the years have gone by and created these rock islands that were sitting atop the sewer lines. And the total for the work of both coves with hauling came to $5,800.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
So I would like to add to that, because I know people that are wanting the coves dredged. This is not in relation to that, but it will save us a ton of money when we do get to the dredging piece of those coves, because removing that material, which was able to be done because of the low waters, is basically done by the maintenance department and a subcontractor versus bringing all kinds of equipment out here and spending $10,000 for a cove. So about 20 to 25% was spent on this out of the maintenance budget to, at some point in time, alleviate the lengthy dredging process in those 2 coves. So even though it's not part of that project, it came out of the maintenance budget, it will assist in those future endeavors of remediating those coves.
And it really was, they did not retrieve muck, they didn't go into soft land. It really was dump trucks of gravel and rock, I mean, as big as half of this table. There were just a lot of rocks.
Did I hear you say correctly, the first day was 18 trucks?
Yeah,
How many the second day?
I lost count over 15 because I had to make a potty.
So about 30 truckloads of rock was removed from these 2 coves, creeks, or whatever you wanna call them. So nice work on that.
The sewer
I think-
company was very happy to have it out of there and off those sewer
Yeah,
lines, because the sewer
definitely.
lines are sitting on piers. And so they were very happy, and we worked with, we had John Freebus here from Freebus Engineering that laid the 15,000 feet of sewer lines. We had the sewer and water, their district manager, the engineer that was over all of this. We had them here, we had Tom Hayes here, we had the gentleman who's the engineer who does Raintree water, and he's here multiple times, almost all day long, every day. Tyler, he was on hand, as well as we had the owner, Mr. Jay Boise. He did personally all of the excavating himself because he knew of the severity of what we were dealing with. And we had sonar that went and they staked out where the lines were. They knew exactly how many inches deep they were. They had cameras that were down the lines. They had drones in the air watching from above. We were in safe hands.
I would also,
Can you tell us where they took those truckloads? Was
The,
it in Raintree?
no, we had nowhere to receive that kind of gravel and that kind of dirt fill. The first day, we took it and put it over behind Manny's. The gentleman who is planning the storage system, he received the first day's truckloads. The second day, the truckloads went down to 21 in B, there behind Saucy's. A gentleman by the name of Bob received that day's truckloads. And they both accepted them for free, which was amazing, that we only had to pay for the hauling. We didn't have to pay for anyone to receive the gravel.
you may also want to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a property owner, Jim Guthrie, gave us access to his lot to access this, so that saved us from having to do any major repair work to a property.
Yes.
So
And
thanks to Jim for that assistance.
And the other property, we were able to use POA common ground.
Right,
And everything that we removed was obviously POA ground because it was in the lake. But all the other coves have homes and have their finished properties at the ends of the coves. And these were the two that are the main thoroughfares right there at Cove 3, at Lincoln, Gettysburg, and West Vista. And then there at Terra and East Vista is Cove 4.
well done. Any questions?
Nope, I'd just like us to spend the money, please.
All in favor signify with an aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. And thank you to the Guthrie family.
Yes, thanks. That is all. Any other additional new business? Oh, there was something I wanted to bring up and I forgot that fast. Right, was gonna lie.
I'm gonna motion to adjourn.
Yeah, are we done? Any, no more new business? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a second.
Any seconded by Dave, any discussion? All in favor signify with an aye.
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 Motion passes, meeting adjourned. We will now do the open forum. If anybody in the forum has a question, please state your name and speak loud and speak low or slow, because our treasurer or our communications head is,
Secretary.
how far away is she?
San
San Antonio, Texas area, 1,000 miles away, 800. Any questions? Going once, twice, there's nothing online.
Mr. and Mrs. Harlan, did you have anything?
Well, I do have a question. I will ask.
I knew they did.
Betsy Harlan is asking a
Betsy
question.
Harlan, has Raintree POA ever given any thought to putting up a sign at Forest Drive and Highway B that says, this is entrance to Raintree 1 mile that way on Column Drive? Because every contractor that we have used to build our house has used GPS, and it takes them directly to Forest Drive, where they pull in by the fire station and can't go anywhere. And I was waiting for the truck up there one day, and I asked a fireman that was there how often this happens. He says we get about at least 10 cars every day. So GPS is taking everyone to Forest Drive as opposed to Column Drive.
Are these big trucks, or are they just regular, like dump trucks or something? 'Cause
No, they could be
Delivery truck.
delivery trucks.
Because because I know we have some really big, like Checker Flag has a giant excavating device. I've talked to maintenance and we can open that for special deliveries, like.
Well, we
But
actually
these
asked
are
that.
No, not for Lowe's, no, not for Lowe's.
I
and
don't
stuff
think,
like
No,
that.
plus
we
now
asked
you're
that.
driving
You're just
commercial
not, yeah,
traffic
don't
past.
even worry about that.
We actually asked that when we got our trusses delivered on a big, long van, and we were told no.
Who told you no? Did I tell you no? I didn't tell you no, did
I don't remember who, but we asked them up there at the fire station, they said they'd be glad to, but then we were told no.
Initials of DG, I think somebody said.
Oh, it's
No,
probably that
because I was
Contra
told a
lady,
while
that
back
sounds
from
like
maintenance that
madness.
if we have a large truck, depending on which way it's gotta go, like if it's come to your house, that would have been the perfect time to use
I know.
that. So
So
I'm
was,
sorry,
Mike,
call me directly if
Mike
that
Russ.
happens in the
Oh,
future.
it might have been Mike Bradford, yeah.
I mean, I will need some notice to get that arranged with maintenance, but
Okay. Well, anyway, so that
Make
was
sure
one,
they use their card on that entrance too.
so that was one part of my question, was the sign up there to send everybody down the column. The other is, all the trucks use their GPS to get out, then they all go back up Forest Drive, they get up to the thing, they can't, then they have to all back up down to Forest Way and go through that way.
Well,
Because
what
there's
about
no sign
putting
saying
just
that
some
they can't go
concrete
through.
barricades up there and put Raintree with an arrow on it?
If they're delivering to your home, shouldn't they be looking at your address? I mean, I'm just,
Isn't that only used by the fire
I'm just
station?
saying,
Don't they?
yeah.
Do we own that road?
yeah,
yeah,
All the way to B?
Forest Drive is right B.
Yeah.
I'd put a barricade at the corner.
Well, there is something there. I forget
There
what
is a
it
Chain.
barricade, but you can go in there, and then you have to kind of go through
Yeah,
Raintree
if
Church
you're
to get back
Fire
out onto the
department
highway.
goes through there.
we open up that gate, the chain, we open that up for the, for West Paving when they come in here with their big
With
equipment.
the big equipment, that's what it's for.
They'll be wanting to
Aren't
go.
they driving right past all them homes on Forest?
Well, now it depends on where they're going, actually. So
Well, the thing is, on Forest Drive, we've got about 8 locations that are gonna get done this year. They're gonna wanna go through that entrance to get there.
And it would save less road damage if they did just come that way, especially if they're big trucks, but big trailers.
Well, would
they're
they have to
usually
like contact somebody and then somebody goes in there and lets them in?
Tom lets
Right,
them.
we don't want a lot of traffic come through
Yeah,
there.
we have to have some
It's a
notice so I
dangerous
can
place
call.
on B to.
That,
have
yeah,
traffic.
it's a very dangerous spot, so we definitely have to make sure that we are well aware of it in advance.
And one man's big is not another man's big trailer. I'm just saying.
Checker
We
Flag
need
has a
some- we
big
need some-
trailer,
We need some quantifiers here on defining a big trailer.
that giant,
Yeah,
Excavator,
that's
that's
a
a
big
monster.
trailer. When
that's a
he's hauling
beast.
that 80-foot neck thing around, yes.
It's huge.
When he's
How
hauling
does he get through this?
It depends on where he's going.
very precariously, the man is good at what he does.
And he had to take down stop signs to get around corners, they put them back, but.
Good idea.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Why don't we have Tom make up some signs?
Hey, Tom, make up some signs. Can you hear that?
AKA,
Well, or
Mark, why
do
don't
we
you
want
have
to just
license
set something
signs?
up with people that they call and somebody goes up and lets them in?
Well, they don't have to come in that way unless it's a really big load.
Yeah, we don't want, we don't want UPS.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going
No.
to my house, they would never need to go that
No.
way.
Right. Even a big load can go that way.
Well,
Big loads this way, very big loads that way.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if they're coming around, if they need to go towards a, Acorn or something like that, that would be a good place for them to go, otherwise they're gonna be going, big heavy equipment going over the dam, if we can keep the big
well,
trucks.
somebody
off.
in here is gonna know when those people are coming.
Well, yes,
So maybe we need to just put the message out, if they have a big trucks like that coming in for any work.
I have said that to some of the contractors. Checker Flag, I know I've said it to them, when you bring that thing in, depending where you wanna go, let me know, we might have a different way for you to
Yeah, I
get.
think what she's talking about is if we can put some kind of sign here right off of B, when you pull in
Exactly.
there.
This is no entrance.
Guarantee it, somebody's gonna vandalize that
Oh,
sign that says
yes.
Uber Eats this way.
I thought she was asking for a sign that said Raintree entrance, 300 feet forward on column or something.
Right, that's what she did say.
Not, I didn't think she was talking about deterring that firefighter exit down there.
No, I'm not saying get rid of the firefighter exit, I was just saying post a sign, so when they
Yeah.
pull in there,
They know
Oh,
that's
they know,
not the
because
right.
oh,
our people, we were telling them all to meet us up here behind the POA office and we'd let them in. Well, we'd be sitting there, and then we get a phone call, and they say, we're here, and we say, no, you're not, we're here, where are you? And they'd say, we're at the emergency exit, and we're going, what emergency exit? And then we finally figured it out, it was the fire station. And we have to drive down there, pick them up, get them to follow us, and bring them down here. Because GPS tells you Forest Drive is the entrance to Raintree, not Column Drive.
Maybe GPS is who we need to talk to.
Yeah, that Google.
Them Google guys.
Well, we have to call Google
I
about
would
different
say they're
roads in
using-
here that are gravel or dirt or mud, or depending what time of year it is. And that they removed them from some of the roads.
They did. Did you call?
Somebody had called them, but was not me.
Well, we have somebody who makes.
Well, the idea of a sign isn't that bad of an idea.
No, it's a good sign.
That'd be easy to do too.
Somebody makes the signs up for us down for the lakes.
Tom gets those made.
Yeah, no.
Okay, there you go.
So what are we wanting the sign to say?
Not an entrance to Raintree.
Raintree entrance,
What if it's one of these big trucks?
That would be a whole different story. We'd have to go down there, we'd say, okay, this is, we'd have to let them know in advance.
So we're trying to
property.
prohibit, like, vehicles from driving in
Just
there?
somebody just
Yeah.
driving through,
Right.
because GPS says there's how you wanna get there.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, get with Tom, have him throw a post in the middle or the side or something and say Raintree, what is it, a mile?
It's just about a mile, I think I measured it once, it's not quite, almost.
Alright, Betsy, we need the exact measurement.
We're gonna walk it, see.
4,527 and a half feet.
I got that new
Well, if you
measurement
got the
thing
little
on the back.
unicycle,
Or you could just put on there, make a ride at the most dangerous curve on Highway B in about 10 seconds.
Just put my phone number, they can call me.
Follow the blood.
Any other questions, Joe? Nobody?
Speaking of signs, can I say something?
You gotta go sit out there in a
Oh,
second.
okay. How about a sign on the front of this office saying what it is?
We would need to trim some of them trees, I think.
Now up here on the gable, on the building,
Well, that would look nice.
Raintree POA, Raintree Property Owner Association, something. There's nothing around here really. There's that little hanging sign that's by the real estate sign. The first time I came here,
I will
I
tell
thought
you
this was
one
somebody's
thing,
house.
that a sign on the building has to go in coordination with Jefferson County's sign permit, and it ties to your sign in the front of the property there, because they made me yank a sign out of the front of my building, because I had two signs and my square footage exceeded the amount allowed.
Yeah.
So I would have to run that by them.
You gotta file a permit, you gotta give them, I don't know, $100 or something, and you gotta draw it out, and
Now,
who's
that's
gonna
what my
make it?
son does for a living, those people are just doing
I
what's right.
hate government.
Yeah,
Can I check it out?
yeah.
it probably won't be that big a deal. They just need to know.
Well, there-
Oh, it's a
Oh, it's a
big
big
deal.
deal.
I mean,
You can,
It's all about the square footage on the building.
Maybe they can be bought,
I'd like to have a sign,
maybe they can be bought.
I'd like to have a sign down by the back door that says, not an office entrance, because I am tired of people walking up those stairs.
Isn't that door locked all the time?
usually.
No, it's open whenever the office is open because of the library.
Oh, you mean downstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Well,
supposed to be.
how do you lock the upstairs
It's
door?
locked,
It's locked.
usually
It
locked.
is locked, but I still don't like people traipsing down the stairs and then banging on the door during the day, because you can't see who it is, and all you're stuck doing is telling them, use the
Go
front
around.
door. And then they're just down there, it's unnerving.
Well, that could be a paper sign.
We have a paper sign down there, it's red, it says, stop, this is not an office entrance.
So that
You gotta be
doesn't
able to
work?
read, I think, is part of the problem.
Oh, well.
I didn't even know there were
Can't win
steps
that.
there for the longest time.
Well, you will when you're my co-chair on golf carts and we're running up and down.
Well, I mean, you could maybe inside there put plastic chain up that says no entry.
My God, a velvet rope.
Yeah.
There we go.
The outside door gets unlocked because of the library. Isn't there a door at the bottom of the steps?
No, there's a door at the top.
Plastic chains, not a bad idea.
Plastic chains is
Plastic
good.
chains is no access to the
They'll go under
office.
it.
No office.
Yeah, you could put a door there.
What's
I would put a door with a self-closing lock on it. and
Along the steps.
Yeah.
Well, there is a door at the top, and it's locked usually almost all the time.
All right, Adam or Deb, any questions, any statements, any advice? All right, thanks for joining, thanks for everybody showing up, and